Heather, Kim, Lauren, David, Jeff, and Mr. and Mrs. Timothy Arkell, and the entire Arkell family seated here today. Chief Robinson and the Brentwood police officers, and Officer Franek, you are surrounded by police officers from across the country who are joined by your neighbors, your friends, your classmates, your teammates. You are surrounded by your community, a community that meant so much to Officer Stephen Arkell. I am honored to stand here today with my fellow officers and pay tribute to one of our own, Officer Arkell, and to express to each of you our sincere condolences for your inconceivable loss. While Steve is at peace, we are brokenhearted that each of you have to carry on and try and find meaning in this tragedy. We have come together not because of how Steve died, but because of how he lived his life. We have come to honor not only a brother officer, but more importantly, to honor a good son, loving husband, father, brother, master carpenter, coach, mentor, teacher, and loyal friend. While he excelled at each of these, clearly what meant most to Steve was his family first and being a member and making a difference in his community. He learned that at an early age with his brothers. He learned that from his father. Being a Brentwood police officer and working in Rockingham County clearly was a perfect fit for Steve, as it allowed him to work with some of the finest and dedicated police officers you will ever meet. I know that you all tried your best, and Derek, I can only hope that I could do what you did. But there was nothing that anyone could do. I know you have never left him, and you will never forget him. You will always have my utmost respect and unwavering support. While Steve was a police officer in a small town, he went to work with unrivaled dedication, compassion, sensitivity, moral fiber, and rock-solid integrity. Small towns can sometimes provide the biggest challenges that have to be faced alone by a police officer. Small town officers have to deal with every crisis that can be imagined. They have to be specialists at all. They have to be able to resolve disputes, talk to people in crisis, respond to their neighboring communities, recognize an explosives call, a potential homicide, locate and bring a lost dog home, talk to parents and children, and more often than you would ever imagine, respond to armed and violent individuals. Officer Arkell learned everything that one needed to know to be an animal control officer and was relied upon for his skill throughout the town. A title that so many may think is unimportant until you have lost a pet or come across an injured animal and simply don't know what to do. Officer Arkell was called upon to assist in lengthy canine tracks because he was in such great shape and always willing to go the extra mile. While we may never understand why his life was cut short by a senseless act of violence, we are certain that Officer Arkell handled this call the way he lived his entire life. He had worked hard that day and donned the Brentwood police uniform to work a night shift, as he had done for many years. His brother Jeff had finished up the day's job with him and said, "I'll see you tomorrow." Officer Arkell took his call for service. While he could have waited for help, he went into the home alone. He completed what he set out to do. I stood with hundreds of police officers and firefighters in Brentwood who came from neighboring towns and from across the state to help Steve. I know how hard each of you tried and can see the pain in your eyes. But there was nothing anyone could do. Steve had done it all. He tried to help, and in doing so, he laid down his life and saved countless officers. This police officer from a small town allowed each of us to go home. He sacrificed his tomorrow so we would have ours. There are no words to express this gratitude to a fellow police officer. There are no words to express how we feel to each of you. I would like to share with you why there was one more title that I believe Steve earned long before his act of heroin this one day in Brentwood, hero, and why it is clear that he gave his all each and every day. I want to thank Jeff for his strength and his time in sharing this with me. While Steve graduated from UNH with a communications degree, and while his superior communication skills and smile were a hallmark, he chose construction for a career. Learning his trade from a local builder and refining his skills over the years, he loved everything about his trade, which provided for his family and allowed him to work in the community that meant so much to him. He enjoyed seeing his customers happy. He enjoyed seeing their job complete. Jeff has witnessed to how his brother would actually talk customers out of work and downsize their jobs because he firmly believed it was the right thing to do. That was the type of man we honor here today. Steve relied heavily on his own family to get his business up and running and worked with each of them over the years. Steve enjoyed and looked forward to hunting and fishing with his father and his brothers. While speaking with Jeff, it was clear that Steve was able to accomplish the hardest things in life for any police officer with a family. Steve was able to find a balance between work and his family. Steve was able to do what many of us have not been able to do. While he worked hard on the job site every day, he knew when it was time to put the tool belt down and put on his police duty belt. He did it to provide for his family. But most every evening he would finish the job and hurriedly throw all his tools in the back of his truck to make sure he was on time for all of Kim and Lauren's sporting events. While we have all learned of the successes in lacrosse, I learned that when Kim, who had first begun playing Little League Baseball with the boys, decided she wanted to play lacrosse, Steve was afraid because he knew nothing of the game. Steve soon learned the sport by reading books and taking classes to become a certified lacrosse coach. His world revolved around his daughters. Heather and Steve were immersed in the girls' sports. They drove every Sunday from Brentwood to Milford for the Granite State Elite Games and practices. They traveled as far as Washington, Pennsylvania, and Virginia for tournaments. If you truly look at all Steve has accomplished, it was not one thing that defined him, or for one thing which he will be remembered. It was for all that he did and for always doing the right thing. This police officer and master carpenter, who did so much for so many, could never find the time to do the final work in his own home after working hard with his brothers to build an in-law apartment for his mom and dad. Working 2 jobs and spending each night and weekend with the family had simply gotten in the way. It is a testament to how he lived his life and how he had his priorities straight, how dedicated he was to his family. To truly honor his life and learn from his death, I believe we all need to go back to our departments in our own lives and continue what he started and live up to the standards Officer Steve Arkell has set as a police officer, father, and member of his community. Live each day, never taking tomorrow for granted. While none of us can measure your pain, I know you are a strong family. I know you are a strong police department. And he would want you to go on with your lives and live them to the fullest and be happy. We all want the same and pray for you. Heather, your husband and father of your children, was there for us. And New Hampshire law enforcement will always be there for you. And most importantly, to Kim and Lauren, we wish you the very best in life, and we'll be watching as you continue to excel in high school and college, and I have no doubt that you will fulfill your dreams of becoming an exercise physiologist and a doctor. And by fulfilling your dreams, you will finish the most important job that your dad ever started. On behalf of the entire law enforcement community that has come here today, our thoughts and prayers go out with you. May God bless you.